The White House continues to crack down on China, from travel restrictions to calling out its propagandist media. That's according to One America's Rion.
The Trump administration continues to slam China, both in words and in policy. A developing story out of the State Department shows the United States increasingly terse with China. White House trade advisor Peter Navarro, a hold China accountable policy hawk from day one, says U.S. aggression toward China is not only justified but called for.
The Chinese Communist Party, right up to the top, and Xi Jinping, are directly responsible for the pandemic that America is now facing. This is a pandemic that's killed over 100,000 Americans. It's put over 40 million Americans out of work, and it's inflicted close to $10 trillion to date of economic damages on this country, while it's created an imbalance in our budget deficit and the balance sheet of the Federal Reserve. That is all on the Chinese Communist Party.
The State Department is reportedly preparing to designate 4 more Chinese media outlets as extensions of the Chinese embassy on U.S. soil. According to Reuters, on this list are China Central Television and China News Service. This designation would add to the 5 Chinese news networks State Department declared as arms of the Chinese government back in February. Navarro says this is a good move and highlights the symbolic friction in U.S.-China relations.
Here's the problem we face with China in journalism and the economy and everything in between. There's not a reciprocal relationship. Let's think about this. We have very few journalists that are allowed to be in China. China threw out reporters from the Wall Street Journal, the Washington Post, and the New York Times that were trying to honestly cover the China virus pandemic. And the reporters that are allowed to be in China have very restricted movements. That is, they can't go to where the news is and find things out. And on top of all that, if they report honestly, the first time they report honestly will be the last time they ever get a visa.
Navarro adds Chinese journalism is outright propaganda and is rightfully recognized by the Trump administration as such.
If you look at the situation here, China's got hundreds and hundreds of reporters working for a state media, which by definition is propaganda. China does not disguise that. They say this is propaganda. They don't see propaganda as a bad thing like we do. So why would we want hundreds and hundreds of Chinese propagandists roaming freely around America to lie about what's going on here, to try to shape the narrative in China's favor and try to influence our elections, which China is trying to do right now?
Navarro says the China threat to our elections is a real one, and the Trump administration's State Department will play an essential role in combating China's nefarious encroachments.
So this is the bigger context within which the State Department is changing American policy. And this is a policy change based on the history that is perfectly appropriate and long overdue.
Rion, One America News, the White House.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.